Hi everybody, this is Kim Hughes, and I am so glad that y'all are joining me to talk about the real estate website things that are going on in the world. So if you have a pen, I want you to get some paper, get you something to drink. I mean, it is 7 o'clock. You can have a glass of wine, glass of water, coffee, whatever your choice is. And we're going to talk some serious stuff here about real estate websites, because there is so much going on in this industry surrounding the real estate dilemma of, you know, who's partnering with who, what should I do? I don't know where to go. I don't know how to do this stuff. I don't understand it. Hopefully, I will be able to give you some information on how to move forward with what you currently have in a website, what you need to look at what you have in your website, making sure that you have everything backed up that you can. And then that way, when you get stuck into a disagreement between programs and different parties, then you can make a decision and not feel like you're being held hostage. Because a lot of agents have been contacting me since yesterday regarding the issue between Real Pro going with iHomeFinder. IDX Broker is not happy, so they're doing their thing with Agent Evolution. And so all these emails are flying into your inbox if you're with one of these programs, and they're kind of telling you, you need to go with us and you need to do this. You don't need to listen to all of that. So what you need to do is just take a deep breath and know that you have to make the right decision based on who you are, what your budget is, what you want to offer on your website, and what you want the company that's going to be hosting your website. So there's a whole lot of stuff here that you need to be aware of. And, you know, for those that don't know me, my name is Kim Hughes. I am a real estate business strategy coach that niches with real estate agents. I also have the first real estate virtual assistant firm ever. So this company that I have is over 20 years old. It has been one that started when the industry was just getting on the internet. So I have learned over 20 years what agents are needing in their websites, where they need the help, what they need to back up, what they need to be aware of, and not believe everything that everybody tells you. So hopefully that's what we're going to cover here. So let me get into this. I've made some notes because I really want to make sure that I cover some really important topics, but I also want it to be well known that I am not endorsing any product. I am not on anybody's side. I am not married to any of these programs. I do not get an affiliate fee. I do not get anything from anybody. It's just my experience over the years that I have dealt with real estate websites. So with that being said, I want to make sure you understand the difference. There is a difference between a real estate template site and a custom website. Okay, so what I want to kind of explain is a template website is a real estate company program that offers you to have your website with them. So I was trying to explain this to somebody else today, and I said, kind of look at it that the real estate company that you are currently with, if that's who you're with, you know, it could be Real Pro, it could be real estate websites, it could be Playster, it could be Real Geeks, it could be Zillow, Realtor.com, any of these programs that you work with, and they host your website, they handle the IDX, they help you with the you know, the building blocks of your website. That is a template website. So look at it that they're the landlords, you're renting, okay? They control everything about your website. If you don't read your agreement and your fine print, then that's on you. But you should read the fine print because they do own the website. So let's just kind of, talk about on say you're new to the internet, you're new to everything. We're going to dumb this down because it's very important that you understand this, even though you should already know this. But when you decide that you want to create a website, you need to purchase a domain, and you need to purchase it. Don't have somebody go purchase it for you unless you trust them to have your back. So in other words, because what happens is when you have a domain and you come up with this name, I'm going to use Cindy because I see Cindy on the feed, and I see Heather, so hello. But so Tishy, cindytishy.com, okay? Let's say you want to purchase that, and then you tell your web host, I want to purchase this domain. They can go purchase that domain in their own name and then give you access to it. So anytime that you dissolve that relationship and you say, well, I need my logins to my domain. Well, guess what? I own your domain, and if you want it, you'll pay me for it. Hey, Cindy, haven't seen you in a long time, so I'm glad you joined us. So be sure that when you purchase your domain, you purchase it in your name, whether it's a GoDaddy or Bluehost. Those are the two that I recommend. They're just easy. GoDaddy's been around forever. You can go in there, purchase a domain. You can call them on the phone. They will walk you through setting up an account, etc. So don't rely on somebody else to purchase your domain, because they could be purchasing it themselves and making it look like you own it. And then when you try to go and get it, then they're going to charge you thousands of dollars to give you access to it. So that would be like a transfer. So that's number one. Okay. So then number two is, who are you going to use? Because these salespeople are calling you every day and they're telling you why they're so great and why you should choose them. So let's talk about what you should look for when you are choosing a website company that you want them to be your landlord, so to speak. Okay. So we want to look at, of course, price. But the price, and I'll cover pricing in just a minute, but that should not be your number one priority. We are all on a budget, but we all have to remember that this is a business. We have to act like a business. We have to remember that we are investing in our business. So you have to be very smart about it, because your website is not going to generate a return of investment immediately. You've got to make the investment, let it work its course, and then you will get the return of investment. I have seen websites that may take a year. It may take 5 years. It may take 3 months. It takes one buyer or one seller to close on a property that you got from your website, which we'll call a lead, to pay for your website. So look at it that way. So the investment that you make is probably one of the most important investments you're going to make in your business, because your website is your calling card on the internet. Okay? So keep that in mind. But let's say you decide to go with, whether it's Real Pro or Real Estate Geeks or Real Geeks, or there's another one out there called Profusion 360 that I've heard about. So these are your hosting companies, and they're going to tell you, you need to pick out a template, you need to pick out your colors, you need to provide us with your content, we need your market areas, we need your zip codes, we need all this information, we need you to fill out this agreement so that we can have our IDX program work with your MLS so that we can get the feed to your website. So that's what a template site is. Again, that's your landlord, okay? Now, once they do this, they're going to say it's going to cost you X amount of dollars to set it up, and then it's going to cost you X amount of dollars per month to maintain it, okay? That doesn't mean that you can call them and say, hey, can you add a new page for me? Or, hey, can you add this content? Can you change this? Can you change my picture? That's not what they're there for. They are there to maintain the website on the back end, meaning that everything works, basically, okay? Now, some of these companies will do that for you. Some do it for free. Some will do it at a minimum cost. But hopefully your real estate virtual assistant, which is Kim Hughes, will be the one to help you with that. So keep that in mind, that you have to be careful what you ask them to do. And if you ask them to do it, ask them if there's a fee that goes with it and what is that fee, because you don't want to be blindsided. I had a client one time said, all I needed them to do was to change my address and they charged me $1,000. Well, did you not ask? Well, I didn't know they would even charge me. So these are the things that you have to keep in mind is, you're going to be charged if you don't get it clear and get it up front of what they are going to give you in return of the monetary value that you pay them. So that's a template site. Now, a custom website is a WordPress website. It's on a WordPress platform. You own it. You control it. Everything. This is where you probably have a webmaster, web manager that developed the site for you, worked with you on developing it. You own your own IDX. You own your own domain. You picked your own colors. You picked everything that goes on it. So that's a custom website. You own everything about it. And there are pluses and minuses to that too. A template site, you're not going to pay much for. You're going to pay probably a couple of $1,000s to set it up, and then you're going to pay around $100 to $150 a month to maintain it. Where a custom website, you can pay anywhere from $3,000 plus on a setup, because there's a lot more into it. Okay, you're not doing a cookie cutter, where the template sites are mainly you get a selection of templates and you pick one. Okay, where a custom you can do some more unique things, but that's beside the point. But I just want to make sure everybody understands, in case you're not here for what's been going on between RealPro and IDX. So that explains it. My recommendation is to always own everything you do. So I'm going to always recommend a custom WordPress website. But a lot of people don't want to make the investment. That's why these real estate template sites are out there. So what I want to talk about now is what happened, or what is happening with RealPro and IDX. So as we all know, RealPro, the original owners, sold the company. Then I'm not sure if they sold it again or if the first company still has it, but I think it's been sold once or twice. And then they had a relationship from day one, the day the doors opened at RealPro, with IDX Broker. That was who you went with. If you purchased a RealPro website, that was their IDX feed. Okay, great. It's a great relationship. Both were great companies. I highly recommended them for many, many years. I have built many of those websites, and I still work with a lot of my clients that still have RealPro websites. So this is a little upsetting to me to find that, this is happening. So what has happened is RealPro purchased iHomeFinder, which is an IDX service / website company. So they partnered, the company that bought RealPro bought iHomeFinder. Now, I don't want y'all taking this with a grain of salt, because I don't know all the details of the purchase or anything. I just know what's happening to the agent and to your website. So now, IDX lost that agreement with RealPro. And so, it would be like somebody saying, I'm going to sell my property with you. Here's the signed agreement. Done. And then they change their mind and say, no, I'm not going to do that now. I'm going to go with another agent. Okay, so that's kind of the scenario that you can kind of put in your head. And so IDX got upset. I don't know what the agreement was with them at the end. I'm not sure. But what I do know is IDX got upset. They have now partnered with Agent Evolution. Now, I don't know if they own each other or what that deal is. So, but to take a step back, when RealPro partnered up with iHomeFinder, or purchased it, IDX Broker said, well, we're going to just not have that agreement with y'all. Y'all can't do that because that's our main competitor. So if your clients want to stay with RealPro, they're going to pay the retail fee. Okay, so now you've become a retail client, not a developer client, because RealPro was the developer. They developed your website. They had the agreement with IDX. I don't know if the connections are making sense, but it's all making sense up here. But so IDX said, okay, well, if you're going to do that with iHome Finder, we're still going to service your clients, but now they're going to have to pay the retail fee. Okay, so the retail fee I think went up like $30 a month. Not a big deal. It was worth it. If you have a really good Real Pro website that has a lot of unique IDX links to different areas in your business, in your market, then that's something that's a big deal because somebody has created all that for you. And I'll give you an example. I have a client in Florida. I have a client in Illinois. I have a client in Baton Rouge. I have clients all over the country. And depending on their market, we made specific links because of their market area. So if you lived in a lake community, then you probably hired us to go in and create links based on lake view with boat docks, lakefront property. You can get very detailed in your IDX links and how you set them up. Yes, well then you know what I'm talking about, Cindy, how it's not hard to do. You just need to know what you're doing, and then you need to make sure that those are going to stay working on your website with them now separating. So when we found out about this, I told all my clients, okay, they're going to have to migrate Real Pro with iHome Finder. So instead of you getting in that first group, let's take a step back, just pay the monthly fee for a couple of months, let them do the migration and get all the kinks worked out, and then we can revisit and then see if it's a good thing for your business. And if it is, then we're going to move it over and be done, or go in a different direction. Because here's what happens is if you created your own links, hey Rob, how are you? Hopefully you can give some insight on this. So if you created the links that were custom for your IDX feed, this is where you would have gone into IDX Broker, you would have created those links specific to your market, and then you would have taken that unique link and put it on your website. So you may have put lakefront property, homes with boats, ocean view property, whatever that market may be. And so with Real Pro moving over to iHome Finder, the big question was, will all those links stay intact when they make that move? And we have been told that they have hired extra people to come in and to help with this transfer, to help with this issue, because now IDX Broker is offering the agent evolution. Real Pro is doing iHome Finder. Everybody's a little confused at what's going to happen to all the IDX feed as well as the links. Let me read what Cindy says. I was told that the pages will have the unique pages, titles will come over. And that's true. That's what we have been told. So yeah, see, you have 300 pages. So to recreate that, think of all the time that it took to create those links. So what we want to make sure is that if you're moving with Real Pro over to iHome Finder, that all those links are going to be recreated, because they can't be, and I could be wrong, somebody could correct me on this, but you can't take a link that was created on one program and migrate that link to the new program. Somebody has to physically go in and look at that link and go, okay, well, she created a link for homes between 100 and 150,000, right? So you've got to go over to the new IDX and recreate that specific link, okay? And then you've got to take that link and put it on your custom page or whatever. I'm going to call them custom pages. So what happens is, is that going to be done correctly? Hopefully, it will be. Hopefully, the person that's doing the migration from your feeds are going into the right place, and they're not going to be broken. They're going to be pulling the right information, etc. That's what I think Real Pro has brought all these people in to help them do, which they should. I think it's a great thing that they're doing that. Now, let's talk about the other side of the coin, IDX Broker. Okay. So IDX Broker sent out an email saying, you have until October 1st to move your IDX. If you're going to keep your IDX with the IDX broker, then you need to move your website to Agent Evolution by October 1st. Okay, so let me tell you what upsets me about that. I totally get what's going on, but what upsets me is that they give you a deadline, and that deadline is less than 20 days if you think about it, because you've got you're coming in from a holiday, you have weekends, you're working, your timeline is too much of a crunch to make a decision that is so important. They should have given you 90 days or 60 days. I was talking to one of my clients about that today. They should have given you more time. And all these programs should have gotten together instead of, it's kind of like I told somebody this morning. I said, the kids in the sandbox are not playing nice, and now they're all getting mad at each other, and they're throwing sand, and they're punching each other, and you're not my friend anymore, and all that stuff. So what we need to do, or what I want everybody to do, is to come together and think of you, the agent. How is this affecting you? Because this is important. I mean, this is part of your livelihood. Okay, let me stop and say what Rob is saying. If y'all don't know Rob Levy, he was one of the original owners and creators of RealPro. So he's saying that RealPro was bought by Front Step from the people who bought it from the original owners. Front Step owns the iHome Finder and has staffed up RealPro to recreate all the links for the folks who want to move over. Exactly. That's what I have been told. And I talked to Rick Headley over there this morning to confirm everything. And that's what they're doing. They brought in, as a matter of fact, I think Rick even said that they brought in some of the old RealPro people that don't even work with the company anymore, and they have brought them in because they know the system, so they're easily done. So again, I'm not bad-mouthing anybody. I'm just trying to get some information out there because I've been emailed, text messaged, phone called about what do we need to do. So now here's the real estate agent. You've got to choose. You feel like you're having to choose between RealPro and Agent Evolution, basically, because there are two different website companies. There are two different IDX feeds. So you feel like you're being pulled in every direction, right? But you don't need to be, okay? Most of you may have already moved over to the iHome Finder, and if you have, and that worked for you, then great. I have been told by some clients that have already gone through that migration to move into RealPro with iHome Finder that it works great. They didn't have a problem. Had a few tweaks, but that's normal, but nothing major. So I don't want you to be afraid of your choice, but you need to be aware of how to take care of yourself while you're making this choice. So, because I don't know anything about Agent Evolution, I know IDX Broker, and I think IDX Broker is a very good IDX system. I don't know anything about iHome Finder. I hear great things about it, but I personally don't have any experience with it. What I do have experience with is RealPro System and IDX Broker, and they have split. So again, I'm not showing favoritism, just trying to make sure the agents know what to do. Okay, so in this situation, what you should do, and like Cindy DeCiani, you have over 300 custom pages. So if you're still trying to figure out, okay, well, which side do I go to? What I want you to do is either you do it, you get somebody in your office to do it. If you need our help, we can help you. But I'm not doing that to get your business. I'm just trying to make sure that, because I got to take care of my own clients first, and then I can help you if you need it. But here's what I want you to do, and this is where you're going to need to take notes. So I want you to go into the back end, and I'm going to talk specifically about RealPro real quick. You log into the back end of your website, which is your dashboard. I want you to, and if you use a Mac, I can't tell you where to go. I think it's Pages, but I'm going to talk about the RealPro back end and Windows. So if you're on Windows, what you want to do is go to your Windows accessories, and then you're going to go to Notepad. So I want you to open up Notepad on one side of your computer, and then I want you to go log into your RealPro website and go to your dashboard. And then I wrote this down so I wouldn't miss the steps. So when you go to your dashboard, you'll go to you'll click on the toolbar. It says websites. Okay, so once you're now on the website, you'll see that there's some tabs. You click on custom pages, I believe is what it says. And when you click on that, these are the pages that you have created. This is where you've written your own content. This is where your links could be to different things in your community, what we call outbound linking. This could be your IDX links and all that. So now that you're looking at that page on the back end, you know it's content, you see the links, they're live, etc. Then what I want you to do is go into the content toolbar. Okay, that's that little toolbar right at the top of where you type in all your content. And on the second row, you're going to see a little icon that says in capital letters HTML. And so I want you to click on that. And when you do, a new box will come up, and that new box will show you some coding, what we call HTML coding. And so you put your cursor at the very top of the page, and then you scroll down until you highlight everything on that page, and then you do a right click, you copy it, and then you go over to your Notepad. So remember, we opened up Notepad. Go over to Notepad, put your cursor in there, and then hit the right and hit paste, or do Control C and then Control V, okay, on your keyboard. And then what happens is it copies that HTML code over to Notepad. So now you've got all that HTML coding saved, right? Okay, so what happens is what we're going to do is we're going to save Notepad. So this is where I want you to I hope you're taking notes, because what I want you to do is make sure that you either have Google Drive or Dropbox, okay? Go into one of those, whichever one you use, and then create a folder. And you should probably create the folder that says my website, RealPro pages, my custom pages, whatever that may be. And then in that folder, you need to put the notepad that you're saving. So we're saving it. And when you save it, what you need to do is name it. So when you save as, you're going to name that page or that notepad page, text, whatever you want to call it. And when you save it, you can save it to your desktop, drag and drop it into Google Drive or Dropbox, or you can save it right in there. It doesn't matter. But I want you to save it as the community, as the page name. So whatever you named it on your on your RealPro site is what you need to save it as. And then put the date. So you should say something like, say Dallas _ 9/6/2017, and then whatever else. You know, maybe you have multiple websites, so you put another dash and you put the name of the website, right? So that way, when you save it, okay, you are saving the HTML, which is the coding. And Cindy, I'll get to you in just a second. Let me finish this thought. So what you're doing is you're taking the page, the custom page that you've created in RealPro, and you're copying it, you're pasting it in Notepad, and then you can save it. Okay? And the reason why you want to do that is for whoever you choose to go with, whatever you choose to do, if there's a glitch, if there's a problem, you don't have to lose anything because you can save it all. And then, so let's say, hypothetically, hang on, let me answer this to Cindy. She says there are only the pages with RPS, not IDX. Yeah, you won't see the IDX broker links on your dashboard in RealPro. Those are going to be your custom pages that you said you've written and you've set up all by yourself. But you have to go into IDX Broker and go to your links and look at your saved links and then save all those links. But I don't really think that's necessary if you're going to stay with IDX Broker, because those links are still there, okay? All I'm trying to do is make sure that you save your custom pages. And you have to understand, there's a difference between custom pages in your Real Pro site and standard pages. Standard pages are the pages that Real Pro has created, and that's part of their package that they sell to you. That could be your gold, it could be your platinum. These would be like reports, maybe tips, your stealth sites. You know, you'll figure it out when you're looking at your website. I mean, a custom page is something that you personally created. So like with a lot of my clients, we would have community pages. So I may have the community of Tyler, Texas, Bullard, Texas, you know, whatever. Those are pages that I may have written, and I set up those links, and I put that page, I created that page on my Real Pro website. So that's what I'm trying to make sure, is that while you're doing this, whether you should do this anyway, you should always save your stuff on your own computer of anything that you own the rights to, okay? Because some things you don't own on Real Pro as any other template website. There are certain things you will own, there are certain things you do not own. And that's because, remember, I said they are kind of like your landlord. That's where your website is being hosted. And that they can control a lot of that. You know, and it's not that it's a bad thing. I just don't want you to think you own the entire site, because you can't copy something that Real Pro created and offers to all their clients. You can't take that and go put it somewhere else. Real Pro will be unhappy with you, and they'll come after you, just like anybody else would. I mean, if you took a page off of my website and you put it on your own website, I would come after you. That's not cool. You don't do that. Okay. So anyway, so that's how you save your own custom pages within your Real Pro website. And I would think, even if you have other, if you use a different company, it's probably going to be pretty much the same thing. You have a place where you can go write the content, you have your toolbar, you click on the little HTML, you copy all that coding, you copy it, and then you take it over to Notepad, you paste it, and then you save it. And you have to save it somewhere. So you save it to your desktop, and I always say don't save anything that you can't back up. So that's why Dropbox or Google Drive is there. Cindy is saying, please repeat how to do it to get the HTML code. Yes. So, and just so you know, you can go back and listen to this. I will post this video after we close it down at the end. But, okay, so when you're in your dashboard, you're going to go to websites. You're going to go to custom pages in the little tabs up there at the top. When you go to custom pages, you pick your first page. Let's say that is your testimonial page. And then you click on that. Go over to the right where it says edit. You know, you have, I think, some little columns, and you can click edit. And you click that. And then what you're going to do is you'll see the content of your page. And then above the content, you'll see, some people call it a wig, what do they call it? I can't think right now, but I call it a toolbar. So click on the little toolbar at the top, and you'll see that you have like 2 rows. And on that second row towards the end, you'll see a little icon that says in capital letters HTML. This is standard with every website, custom template, whatever. But when you click on the HTML, a new window will pop up, and that will be where your coding is. So let me know if that works for you, Cindy. But if not, you can go back and listen to this and get those steps again. So what I want you to be aware of is that the campaigns that Real Pro gives you, do not copy those. Those are not yours. Those are Real Pro's. But if you created a custom campaign, then yes, you own that. You need to go copy that and save it to one of your programs. But anything that the company created, you don't have access. That's not yours. So don't go get it and try to use it in another program, because it won't happen. You'll get caught and you'll get in trouble, and it's not cool. People love to come after people, so don't do that. Your blogs. Now, depending on how much you've been blogging, depends on how many you have to go back and save. Hopefully, you don't have to do that, because if you're blogging, you would have already had that in a Word document. And so all you have to really do from that point is reference to that Word document, and that's a whole nother event on blogging. But in case you did not, if you typed it right into Real Pro, then yeah, you need to go copy it. But you probably didn't. Your newsletter, that is a little iffy. It depends on how you do your newsletter. Like, we do not use, none of my clients ever used the Real Pro newsletter. We did a custom newsletter. But again, those are not saved. Real Pro doesn't save your newsletters. So you would have already had that content saved in a Word document, or whoever was doing them for you saved them. The other thing you need to save is your photos. So if you purchased a photo and you gave that photo to Real Pro to use on your website, or you uploaded that photo, not talking about listings, I'm just talking about photos. So if you had a picture of Dallas, Texas, and you uploaded that to your website, or you sent that to Real Pro and said, please put this as my flash or my header or on a page, then you own that photo. Need to save that photo. If it is a photo that Real Pro has that is standard to all real estate agents' websites, then you do not have access to that photo, and do not copy it and save it. Okay? Just don't do it. You can go get photos so inexpensively. I'd never recommend the free sites. iStockPhoto is a good place to go buy a photo, and they give you two options. They give you the Essentials, which is a cheaper version. I'm not going to say cheaper, I don't like that word, but a less expensive group of photos. And then you can buy the Signature, which is going to cost you more money. So for example, I went in the other day to buy a photo, and I could pay, under the Signature, I paid $33. Under the Essentials, I just found a different photo and paid $12. Did I like it as much as the $33? No, but I wanted to save that money. And the photo still got my message across. Okay? So make sure you save all of your original content, all of your photos, your blogs, anything that you have personally given to Real Pro or have created yourself and uploaded it. Okay? So, and again, this goes for any template website. You could have a website with Boomtown. You could have a website with Real Geeks or Real Estate Webmasters. This applies to everybody. It just happens that Real Pro is the talk of the town right now because of what's going on. So I don't want anybody to be scared, because there's nothing to be afraid of. The only thing that's irritating is that IDX Broker, and shame on them for doing this by saying you have until October 1st to make a decision, and now both companies are calling you to fight for your business, and that's not right. That's just not right. Okay? I'm not even gonna say what I'd do. So anyway, a couple of other things we'll talk about is you need to make sure that, like I said, all of your domains are in your name. You own them in your account. Nobody did it for you. So when you go into your, let's say GoDaddy, and you look and you see that you own this domain, and I'll use mine for example. So if I go in to GoDaddy and I see, okay, here's my list of domains, kimhughes.com. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on that, and I want to look at what's all that information. You know, who's my administrator on the account? Who is my point of contact? Whose name? Whose address? Whose phone number? It should all be me. It should not be anybody else's but mine. Unless you trust that person 150% that they are doing what they're supposed to be doing with your account. Now, you can have somebody else as an administrator, but you still own it. Okay, I'm an administrator on many, many website domains. And so, but that's just because I get all their emails and I handle it all for them. So when it comes up for renewal, I'm the one that gets the email. I go make sure that, if she wants to renew it, okay, we do it. We do it for another 5 years or something like that. So if you know that you're going to keep that domain, especially if it's in your name, purchase it for 10 years. That's a good Google thing too. When Google sees you own it for so many years, they're going to give you page ranking for that. Okay, so we've talked about how RealPro and IDX Broker have kind of split. They're kind of giving you options, one or the other, but you have until October 1st to make this decision. I'm not going to say anything ugly. Like somebody on my team said, be nice, take the higher road. So you've now been told how to save your custom pages, save your photos, look at your blogs, make sure you just kind of go through your pages on your website, make sure everything is backed up, you have a copy of it, because I don't want to see you migrate over to iHomeFinder and they lost one of your pages and then you have to go recreate it. That's human error. I mean, nobody's perfect. It happens. So just prepare yourself. Don't depend on other people to take care of you. Take care of yourself. And then when people do come in and take care of you and they do have their best interest in you, then they do make a mistake. So let's just take care of what your business is. This is your business, not anybody else's but yours, okay? How do you get your pages from IDX Broker? If you created a page in IDX Broker, then you need to go to that page in IDX Broker, and I'm not sure because I've never created a page in IDX Broker. I've created links, but I've never created a page, because what happens is, and I'm not sure, I think I know what you're asking me, Cindy, is when you create a link to a search, you're given like a header and you can add some content and all of that above, so it shows up above the search. So I would go back into that area and just copy all of that and put it on a Word document or a notepad. Because I would think you would have the HTML icon in IDX Broker's content dashboard, but I'm not 100% sure, okay? Because I always did everything in RealPro as far as content, because RealPro would be the one to give you the SEO as far as content, okay? So you might make a call to IDX Broker and ask them where that is if you don't know. But I think if you just click on the link, it'll give you all of the, the way you created the link. It'll take you down and it'll say, what price range, what community, any specifics, and then you can go down and have your header, and then there's probably a place to put your meta tags, meta description, and all of that, and then you have a place for content. So you're going to have to copy, what I would do is just put that in a, if you can't get the HTML code, so you can just open up a Word document and just copy and paste each line. But, that's just a waste of time. Just want the content. You don't want to have to rewrite your own content because of a glitch or something that happened. So just take those precautions, but call IDX. They'll tell you how to do it. And if you want to send me the link to the page that you're talking, I don't need all the pages, but send me an example of what you're talking about, and I can probably tell you, because I think I know what you're talking about, and I think I've given you the right direction, but I'm not positive. So if you want to just shoot me an email, it's kim@kimhughes.com. Okay, so let's see if I've covered everything on that. Yes, I have. Now, what I want to talk about now is your choices, okay? So, like RealPro and iHomeFinder. RealPro is your website. iHomeFinder will be your IDX. I have nothing negative to say about that. I've talked to a couple of people that have gone through that migration, and they said that, yeah, there was a couple of glitches, but nothing major. So you can feel very comfortable doing that. I cannot give you my opinion on iHomeFinder because I've never used iHomeFinder. Going over to IDX and Agent Evolution, same scenario. I like a IDX broker. I've never been disappointed by them. I do create custom websites for clients, and I use IDX broker. When we create a custom WordPress, we use IDX broker as the IDX program. Never had a problem. Very helpful. So, you know, it's just pick one. You know, price, you know, those two, they're probably going to be very competitive in price. So you just got to go with what your gut feels like. But now if you get mad at both of them because of the way they've put you as the agent in the middle of it, of this little argument that they're having, or they may not even be mad at each other. I think somebody's mad, but that's just my opinion. But you have other options. So take the time, take a day and just wipe your calendar off and make some phone calls. I've talked to a couple of other website template programs today just to kind of make sure I knew what options were out there for other people. Some of them are new on the block, some have been around for a while. There's some that I would not recommend, but I cannot say that live because I don't want anybody coming after me. But here's a list that I made that you might want to make a note of and look at what they have. Make a phone call, talk to their salesperson, see what they can help you with. And these are the questions that I want you to ask when you are looking at a new website program. I want you to ask them, who is your IDX and how does that feed work with your website? And what is that agreement? I want to see the agreement because that is part of what you deserve. You're paying for this, so they should provide you with information about the agreement between those two parties and how you're going to be affected by it should something like what's happening now. So the second thing is how do they give you search engine optimization? So search engine optimization, otherwise known as SEO, those are where you're going to pick your keywords and give those to them. Then you need to focus on your market, you know, what's relevant to your particular market. Your content, do they give you the ability to add your own content, custom pages, and all those wonderful things? Are you probably pretty much married to them? So for example, hey Spencer, he has something here. He says, do you lose Google Juice by switching from RPS to Agent Evolution if you use the same domain name? Yes, you will. Yeah, you will. I mean, there's nothing anybody can do about that. Nobody can promise you that you don't. How much do you lose? Probably not much. It really depends on, well, there's several factors that you have to look at when you do something like this. So you just have to make sure that you do it very quickly and understand that you may drop in the rankings, but then you can build it back up very quickly by being very active on your website. And what I mean by that is once you make that switch and you lose a little bit of that juice, you can build it back up by going in and writing some content on different pages. You can do some blogging, get some inbound linking to your blogs. I'll go over that in just a minute. But those are some little tricks that you can do. I never recommend the ads. I'm just never have been a fan of them. I know other companies have offered it and a lot of people have gotten leads from it, but I really just don't see that being an investment that's going to give you a good return. So I personally don't recommend it, but you know, there's some things that you can do to tweak your website to get it back up there. And one is, you know, honing in on the content. Rich, good content will get you high rankings. Blogging gets you rankings. Inbound linking gets you rankings. And inbound linking can be from your social media. It could be other businesses in the community, etc. So just kind of look at that, you know, and evaluate where you are now, and then kind of go into your Google Analytics. And if you don't have Google Analytics, then you need to get that little UA code and get it added to your website so that you can one, have access to the Google Analytics to see what's going on with your visitors, etc., as well as by having that, Google gives you extra points. Okay, so that's a whole nother, that could be a whole nother thing we talk about. So, but if you don't have Google Analytics, and let me just throw this out there, if you don't have Google Analytics and a Facebook pixel on your website, then that's number one priority once you make your decision of where you're going. Okay, once you do that, you need to give them your code for Google Analytics and your Facebook pixel to your business page. That's going to make a huge difference in your rankings as well, and it will do all kinds of wonderful things for you to have that Facebook pixel on your website. Okay, so what was I talking about? Okay, so I think I left off with, when you're talking to these companies about hosting your website, ask them if you have the ability to add custom pages. Can you manipulate the content that they give you? Say, for example, on your home page, they give you probably a welcome message that's pretty standard. So you need to ask them, can I make changes to that? How do I make changes? Because one company told me today that you don't get to make those changes. You send them your changes, they will make them for you at a fee. They're going to charge you to make changes to your own website. So that's not cool. Now, the exception is if you are creating a new custom page on your website and they say, yes, we will do that for you at this, and then they're going to say it's going to cost you X amount of dollars, that's worth it, because now you're hiring them to do something for you. But you should never pay to go in there and change something that's already there if you have access. I don't know if that makes sense, but think about that. So what else does your website offer you? Does it have an auto responder? Does it have, the contact forms? How do they come to you? How are they set up? Can you make changes to them? The other things that you would look at, does it offer you a newsletter? Does it offer you a blog? If whoever you go with does not give you the ability to have a blog, then you don't need them. You don't need them. You don't need to have a blog over here and have your website over here, because the blog is what's going to drive traffic and SEO to your website. So they need to be on the same platform. Okay. And I said the campaigns. Now, another thing is, a lot of these programs give you a CRM. So a CRM would be where the lead comes in, the lead is captured into the back end, and then they are put on a autoresponder depending on how they came into your website. Okay. Do you have the ability to add more campaigns? Be creative. So for example, I have clients where we have created specific campaigns based on how those leads are captured. So maybe you and I are connected on Facebook, and I'm going to take Spencer and I'm going to go, he and I have connected, so now I'm going to go put him in my CRM, and I'm going to put him on my autoresponder drip campaign called Facebook Lead, or Facebook Friend, or Facebook. I'm going to do Twitter or LinkedIn or Google Plus or Pinterest or whatever I want to do, and I can create a unique campaign that goes out because of the way we got connected. Okay, if you're a buyer and you came in off of my Dallas, Texas page, then you may be put on a specific campaign because you came in because you're obviously looking in Dallas. But now what if you're over here in Frisco? I'm going to create another campaign for my Frisco leads, because they're two, even though they're all connected, it's two different cities and totally two different lifestyles. So think about what they offer you, okay? Now, and keep in mind, the more they offer, of course, the more they're going to probably charge you. So you've got to keep that in mind. But again, we're not thinking price, because this is your business. This is your exposure to the world on the internet. And that has to be stellar, okay? It has to be, a good representation of who you are and what you offer your buyers and your sellers and your relocations and whoever you offer services to. Okay, Then you need to make sure you can have a testimonial page, which that's pretty standard. I mean, you know, I'm pretty sure they all do that. And then the other thing you might ask them is, do they write content for you? Can they do that for you? Some companies will do that. It may not be perfect, but it will help you save time. I know we do that. We write content for communities that I've never been to, you know, so, but there's a lot of research that goes into that. So you need to be aware of what they offer on a free and what they offer on a paid version. Okay, so you're not caught off guard, you know, because again, this is your landlord, you're renting, so you want to make sure that you know what that agreement is so that y'all two can work together to have a great website. But always back up everything that you do so that if you ever move to another website, you can take your stuff with you. So it's like packing up your apartment and then you're going down the street and you're moving into another complex or into another house, you're taking your stuff with you. So look at it that way. Okay, what else? Are there any questions about any of the websites or anything that I mentioned? If you are, I mean, there's only a few people on here, but if you have the name of a website that you're happy with and you're an agent, then feel free to post it. Even after this video is over, you know, I'll put the video on my page and you can go back and refer to it. Or if you're watching it for the first time and you are very happy with your website provider, then you're more than happy to link them. But if I see any of these website companies linking to their products, I'm going to delete them because that's not right. We don't do that. You're self-marketing. We're not doing that. But here's something else I want to talk about. So let me take a real quick sip. Now, a lot of you are with franchises. Hey, Pam, how are you tonight? And so you could be with Century 21, Caldwell Banker, Keller Williams, Remax, Berkshire Hathaway. You could be with any franchise. And these franchises offer you a back office. And your back office is, they give you a variety of tools, okay? I'm not going to be specific, but you can see in your back end with your franchise what tools they offer you. One of those tools is most likely a website. Okay, and that's great. I think it's great that they offer that because I think it's important that you take advantage of the franchise website because you're paying for it anyway, so why not take advantage of it? But take advantage of it to the interesting side of, let's think about this. If I go to, and I'm going to just hypothetically pick something. So let's say I'm Berkshire Hathaway. I go to a Berkshire Hathaway. I'm the visitor. I'm going to be buying a home. I go to Berkshire Hathaway website. So let's say I pick, you know, Judy Jones, and she's in Tyler, Texas, and she's a Berkshire Hathaway agent. And I click on her link, and it takes me to her web page with Berkshire Hathaway. Okay. And what happens there is multiple things. You will either go into a round robin and get that lead and compete for that lead within other agents in your office or in that region or whatever. And then but I'm having a hard time explaining this, but that website is not giving you search engine, okay? It is giving the franchise search engine optimization. So if that's the way you want to go and you want to say, I'm going to build my website with my franchise, then you've got to really put some time and effort into building that website because your website is not generating the SEO. It's the company, the franchise that's building your SEO. So you've got to get really creative in your domain, and you can't have kimhughes.com because Google says, well, who's Kim Hughes? I don't know who Kim Hughes is. I want you to put in there real estate, something like Pam sells Lindale, Pam sold Lindale, you know, Pam has Lindale Homes, whatever that domain is, but you need to really put some thought into it because Google is asking, okay, well, who is this person and what do they do? what industry should I put this person in? So when people go to the Google and they type in Lindale, Texas homes, who's going to come up? So that's something else you should do. There's another tip. Go do a Google on your market and who's your competition on your internet market. That's a good one. Because your internet market competition is going to be different probably than you think is in your direct market. Okay, so then say we just decided we're going to use our franchise as the website. So you've got to get in there and you've got to learn all those tools. You've got to make sure that everything is being taken advantage of. And you want to make sure that your website is professional. If it's not professional, it's going to come across that you don't know what you're doing and people are going to move on. Hey, Tony. Love ya. The biggest thing that I can say about a franchise website is own your own website and then take all of your linking and everything. So you could put like buy a home in Lindale, Texas, and then put a link to your other website. Link to your other website. Put something on the franchise website, make it nice and pretty, but then link it to your own website. Because if you don't, then all that SEO is staying there and you're competing with everybody in your company for that lead. So I want you to be able to take advantage of that product that they give you, or you're paying for it with your fees, and then direct that traffic to your own website. So it's kind of like I tell people, like on Facebook, when you make a connection with somebody on Facebook, I want you to have a reason for them to go to your website. And then now you can take that conversation to the website, get them off all that chatter that's going on Facebook, and connect with them on your own playing field. Okay? Hey, Linda. And then, so I want you to think about all this. So this is a lot to take in because there's a lot going on in this industry right now with real estate websites. So let me think, what else? So here's a list of companies that I have either worked with or I have talked to today. I don't have a preference. I'm not showing sides. I'm not showing favoritism or anything. But I do think that if you're going to be forced and to make a decision in by October 1st, then you need to know what your options are. You go with either Real Pro and iHome Finder, or you go with IDX Broker and Agent Evolution, or you go do something else, because there are choices. And if nobody appreciates you as the client, then you need to find that company that does appreciate you. Okay? And then, so here's some names: Real Pro, Agent Evolution, Real Estate Webmasters, Real Geeks, Playster, and then Profusion 360. Okay, so those are some options. And then of course you always can do the custom real estate website, which is WordPress. And there's many people out there that build them. I am one of them. I'm very good at it. I've been doing it for 20 years. But if you choose to go with somebody to build you a website, or to hire somebody to help you build your website on your template website, make sure they know what they're doing. And don't hire people based on, well, they're $10 an hour. Well, guess what? You're going to get 10 hours an hour. You're going to get that kind of work. You're going to get $10 hour work. Pay for the experience that these people we bring to the table. Pay for the experience and the knowledge and people that can guide you in what is going to be best for you and your business. Not best for whoever. Somebody's got to look out for you, and that should be you, number one. But then you need to bring somebody in that's going to look out for you and make sure that you are doing everything the right way so that you can build your business and not have to worry about who's now going to get mad at each other in the real estate world and break the relationship. This is a big deal. These two companies separating. I hate it, but it's a reality. And something that I forgot to mention that I want to mention real quick is I did talk to IDX Broker. Just like I talked to Real Pro today, I talked to IDX Broker. And I did talk to, can't think of who I talked to. I'd have to look it up. But they did say that you can keep your Real Pro website. You can keep IDX Broker. They can stay together. You're just going to pay the extra fee. Okay? So if that is true, that's what I'm saying. If it's true, then that might be your best option for right now, because you should not be rushed to make a decision. And to pay $30, $40 a month extra for the next 2 or 3 months, as a real estate agent, you should be able to afford that. You should put that in your budget. You should be able to say, that is not going to break me because I am that good at what I do. And this is going to be an investment in my business. Okay? Because agents get real, the thing about real estate is you're strictly on a commission. So I totally understand how you don't know what your production is going to be from one month to the other. You have goals, and you know that you have you're producing it, but you never know what's going to happen. So you're very tight with your budget, which you should be. Everybody should be. But I want you to understand that you need to be tight in certain areas, and then in other areas you need to understand that you are making an investment in yourself. And sometimes you have to make you kind of have to step out of your comfort zone to get that. And that return of investment is going to be 3 months from now, 3 years from now. But a website, you have to have one. You have to make sure that it is stellar. You have to make sure that you have a good exposure on the internet. You have to have good exposure in your community. Because I am that person that if I go to your website and I'm looking to find me a realtor and I see, Jane over here who has a mediocre, she's not keeping it up to date. It looks like the links are broke. She's not taking care of her business on the internet. So how is she going to treat me as a client, right? And then you go over here and you see Sue, who has this beautiful website. It's up to date. She's got tons of information. She has tons of photos about her community. She has a blog. She has this and she has that. Oh, and she's giving me market stats. I'm going to go with her. She's on top of things. So you have to stay on top of what you're doing with your website, even if you have a template program building it for you, or you have a custom web designer building it for you. You have to make sure that you're staying in the times. People don't like that. There's a lot of competition out there now. Not like it used to be when we all first started out, when it was like, we coded websites. So make sure that, that regardless of what you do, you evaluate your website about every 6 months and make sure that everything is current. You have, you have a conversation. Do I need to update any pictures, any information, etc.? Excuse me, I'm getting dry for talking so much. So, these are the things that, that have come up in the last day. I don't think I got any sleep last night because everybody was emailing me and calling me, and I was worrying about what to do with all my clients. So you need to kind of just take that into thought, write down, what's important to you, what is your budget, remembering that this is your calling card on the internet. Don't be so much worried about the search engines and all that. It's important, but there is so much competition out there on the search engines that you really just want to make sure your community can find you and you're contributing to the community. Okay, you don't. An agent in Dallas is not looking for a client in California. They're looking for a client in Dallas. So remember, you have to stay on top of what's going on in your community and create that relationship with your community, not with, people around the world, because those people are just going to be a dime a dozen, not very, very often are they going to come to you. It's great that they do, but I have a lot of clients that do get a lot of leads from different areas, and their websites do great for them, but they also are very well known in their community. So that's where I want y'all to really focus on is, when you are doing all this website stuff, that you do know what you're doing to get that community involvement. Okay, so we've talked about a lot of stuff. So what I'm going to recommend is, even though you've been with me this entire time, then this has been like an hour-long video, or live event. So when we sign off, it's going to take a few minutes to upload the original video. But I do recommend that you go back and listen to this again, and listen to it, and then you can stop it and make notes, and you can make, because I give you a lot of tips. I give you a lot of information. I want you to write it down and then keep that with you as you're making a decision on which company you're going to go with. Because, once you make that decision, it's an investment and it's going to cost you money. So I want to make sure that you don't spend all this money to do this, and then in 6 months or a year, you're coming and going, well, gosh, I spent all this money and, it's not working. Now what do I do? Well, you got to start all over. So let's don't keep starting over. Let's make a decision, move forward, and be done with it. But don't go into a panic about what's happening, because it could be the best thing that's ever happened. It could be that it just didn't work out between them. People move on, people change, products change, programs change, companies change. So it's a change. We don't like it, but it is what it is. So now what do we do about it? So again, I am not picking on anybody. I'm just giving you the facts of what you need to be doing. And the most important thing is to save your content that you've created, and then give yourself a moment to breathe before you just make a decision, or you're scared into making a decision. Think about, talk to all these companies, or at least the two that are trying to get to compete for you, and talk to them both and have a really good deep conversation, and have them give it to you in writing, and read your contract. Read that contract that tells you what they are going to do, what they're not going to do, how long are you tied into them, and all that. We all do that. You assume that they have your best interest, and they do. But they also have their own best interest. When I have a new client come to me, I give them a contract. And I'm telling you, read the contract, because you need to do that. You need to protect yourself. If you don't read the contract, then that's your own fault. So make sure you read anything that they give you and you understand it. If you don't understand it, ask them. They'll be more than happy to explain it. And if they don't want to explain it, then there's your answer. Move on. Moving on. Go somewhere else. Okay? Okay. So, I don't know if I was any help to y'all at all, but hopefully I was. So like I said, go back and listen to the video. It is an hour long. I didn't mean for it to go this long, but there was a lot of stuff here to cover. And I appreciate everybody attending. If you want to share this video, please feel free to do so. I just think it's very important. I have a lot of people that in this industry that I'm been in this industry so long, helping people, that I just want to see everybody make the right decision. And if you have a question, feel free to post it in the comments. I will check in and I'll reply the best I can. But again, I do not work for these companies. I know how to work with their systems, and that's all I know. I'm not here to endorse anybody. I'm just here for you, the agent, to make a right decision. And a lot of you already know, so I think you kind of understand what I'm talking about. Y'all know that I'm going to have your back. And I'm pretty outspoken, and I speak my word, and I speak my truth, and I just want to make sure that everybody knows what they're up against. So just make the right decision. Go with your gut. Make sure they can answer your questions, and back up your stuff, so if something goes wrong, you don't have to recreate it. And those are the best things that you can do for yourself. But always look out for what you've got going on with your website, because that's the most important investment that you're going to make with anything that you purchase on the internet. Okay? So, everybody have a great evening. Thank you for joining me. And, there's going to be some stuff coming up that I'm going to be doing. Just real quick, I'll throw it out there that on September 24th, it's a Sunday night at 7 o'clock, I'm going to do a webinar, not a live event, a webinar on client relationships. So this is going to be a webinar where I'm going to talk to you about how to nurture your database and how to go back and recreate those relationships with your clients and how to build that referral database. And that way you have your clients coming back to you instead of you out there, running down the pavement looking for the next buyer or seller. Your database is coming back to you and they're referring people to you. And you need to know how to nurture them and how to build those relationships. So make a note on your calendar. September 24th, 7 o'clock. It's a Sunday evening. I'm going to do a webinar. I'll put, information on my page. If you're on my email list, you'll get an email from me about it. I've had a lot of people ask me about this, and so we are going to give y'all a lot of information on how to do that. So I'm losing my voice, so I will let you go. You have a great evening, have a great week, a wonderful weekend. If you're in the hurricane area, be safe, do what they tell you to do, be packed, be prepared. If you're in the flooded areas, God bless you. It's horrendous, and if there's anything we can do to help you, you just let us know. And God bless you and love you and all the best to you. Thanks. See y'all later. Bye.